If you think you have to be a rich celebrity or entrepreneur to buy a gigantic luxury villa, then you probably don't know these houses yet. There are numerous super real estates in the world, which are sold extremely cheap and sometimes for just €1. In this video, we present you with exactly such incredible real estate and tell you the surprising reasons why you can get whole houses in some parts of the world for almost nothing. Included are entire castles and pompous townhouses, but also residences of celebrities that will probably stand empty forever. It will be extremely curious, so stay tuned here at Wonderlane. We start directly with one of the many houses of one of the most famous people in the world, none other than Donald Trump. Trump was not only US president, but also a real estate investor and owns various luxury apartments and mega mansions around the globe. Particularly spectacular is a giant villa in the Caribbean. This exclusive object not only has a gigantic swimming pool and is located directly on the sea, but is also planted with picturesque palm trees and has countless rooms. Nevertheless, Trump has wanted to sell this villa for some time, and at a downright ridiculous price for such objects. Originally, the villa had a price tag of $28 million. In the meantime, the price has dropped below $17 million, and yet no buyer continues to show any interest whatsoever. There are many reasons for this. On the one hand, the villa is located in the middle of a dangerous hurricane area, and on the other hand, the ex-president himself is largely to blame for the fact that no one wants to buy this house. Due to his highly controversial policies, many interested parties do not want to be associated with Trump, as they do not want to support him privately. According to an expert, the villa in the Caribbean will not even be worth $5 million in the next few years, so it would really be a gift. Let's continue with an incredibly large object in Italy, which, unbelievable but true, can be purchased for free. If you have ever dreamed of owning your own castle, then you should take a close look at this one. This castle, with the name of Castello di Blera, is located near Rome and is currently owned by the Italian government. But the government wants to get rid of the castle as soon as possible, and for free. For years, the government has been courting a buyer to take over the gigantic fortress for free in order to turn it into a tourism hotspot with a hotel. The whole thing has a huge catch, and that is that the conversion costs of this abandoned ruin would run into the millions. So, before a private investor and the state would benefit from possible tourism revenue, they first would have to take on a renovation project that is unclear whether it can ever be paid for. Nevertheless, if a buyer were to be found soon, he would theoretically receive a complete medieval castle as a gift from the Italian state. Next, we come to another villa that just won't sell. This villa in the USA is located on a 2 square kilometer plot of land and has countless bedrooms and bathrooms, and even a gigantic entrance hall with medieval exhibits. This house has been vacant for years, and the current purchase price is just over $400,000, which is pretty much a steal for this area, as the average price is well over $1 million. The reason for the great lack of interest is totally absurd. Namely, some construction workers are believed to have said that they have seen ghosts in this villa. While many consider these claims to be nonsense, they seem to have left a lasting impression. Because despite all the ridicule, the house with 5 fireplaces and a huge library has still not been sold. Let's continue with an idyllic single-family home in New Jersey. This house is not particularly spectacular in itself, but it actually meets all the requirements that a young family can have for a house. It has several living spaces, a beautiful garden, and on top of that, it's insanely affordable. To be exact, it costs just $10 at the moment. This house simply hasn't sold in years, which is why the municipality that owns the property is now offering a $10,000 reward if someone buys this house. While at first glance it sounds very tempting to get a whole house and $10,000 for free, there is of course a gigantic catch here as well. For years, the municipality has actually wanted to use the property for other projects. Since the house is listed as a building, they can't easily tear it down either. For this reason, they are looking for a buyer who can somehow manage to move the entire house off the property in one piece without breaking it. Since this is virtually an impossibility, and for many the effort is not worth it, this house will probably stand around empty for quite a while. For number 5, we stay in New Jersey and come to a similarly attractive house that, for one extremely crazy reason, no one would want to move into, even as a gift. Several families have lived in this urban villa with a large entrance hall and a fantastic location in the past. But so far, every inhabitant has moved out again after a short time. The reason for this is extremely sinister. In the past, every new visitor received anonymous threatening letters, which not only asked them to leave as soon as possible, but also claimed that no one was allowed to live in the house because the spirit of some ancestors had moved in whose peace should not be disturbed. But if you don't mind these strange occurrences, you will find here a high-quality urban villa at an absolute bargain price. Next, we come to another celebrity house that has been dropping massively in value for years and that no one wants to buy. We're talking about a villa that 50 Cent lived in for years. 50 Cent, who is now successful not only as a rapper, but also as a book author and TV producer, is known to brag about his luxury from time to time. A few years ago, this looked quite different, and 50 Cent had to face proceedings for personal insolvency. In the course of this, he was also asked to sell his gigantic luxury villa in Connecticut. This villa not only has dozens of rooms, an indoor swimming pool, and a private lake in the garden, it also has its own casino, a disco, a recording studio, and a basketball court. Until today, 50 has not managed to sell this exceptional mansion, which, by the way, he had previously bought from Mike Tyson. In this case, this is not because it is haunted or it is located in an unsafe area. The truth is that no one wants to buy this house because it was built far from any civilization. Although the value of the house has fallen from over $18 million to a paltry $5 million, many assume that this super mansion will remain uninhabited for a very long time. Next, we're off to England to an area where you can actually buy houses for just €1. We're talking about the Cobridge area in the middle of Great Britain. Cobridge was originally an area where thousands of people lived and worked during the industrialization. However, as more and more factories closed down after the war, people moved to other towns, and Cobridge gradually became a ghost town. A few years ago, the British government tried to breathe new life into the area. For this reason, they built numerous high-end townhouses, hoping that this would bring as many people as possible back to Cobridge. But they were completely wrong, because to date, not a single one of these houses has been bought. In the meantime, the government has reduced the purchase price per house to €1, in the hope that at least a few properties will be sold. In the near future, each house will have to undergo renovations amounting to €35,000, which the government does not want to bear. So if it sells a house for €1, it still gets off better than if it had to keep it. On number 2, we now come to a gigantic villa which, for many, fulfills the requirements of an absolute dream home. This giant house, called Grinnell Loma, is located in Michigan, directly on Lake Superior, i.e. the second largest lake in the world. Among other things, it has 23 bedrooms, whirlpools on the balcony, separate apartments, and even its own ship dock. A few years ago, this exclusive object was offered for sale for $40 million. This price had to be lowered a few dollars in the meantime, because nobody showed even the slightest interest. The reasons for this are of various kinds. For one thing, the furnishings are far too unfashionable for many people. It would cost millions to rid the dozens of rooms of their medieval artifacts and install modern technology there. In addition, Grinnell Loma is extremely far out of town. It takes an incredible 3.5 hours by car to drive to the nearest even halfway large city. While this villa is undoubtedly beautiful to look at, as one of the largest in the US, the vast majority of people wouldn't even live here as a gift. Last but not least, to conclude this video, we come to a woman who actually had the courage to buy one of the houses that are extremely cheap due to various defects. The American Betsy Sweeney bought a huge house in 2020 for just $18,000, which was extremely run down and useless for anything. A while ago, she was visited by YouTuber Monica Church, who wanted to see what it was like to live in such a cheap house. Betsy Sweeney then showed her entire house, which she is currently renovating for circa $160,000. According to her, it was an extreme risk to buy such a cheap house, since the whole thing obviously had a catch. But in the meantime, she calls the investment the best decision of her life. Soon, she will be living in a Victorian-style townhouse of almost 400 square meters, which will not only be in a fantastic location, but will also have everything you could want for a cozy home. And that's it for our video. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to Wonderlane for more exciting videos, and we'll see you next time here at Wonderlane.